The most powerful film of the year has just dropped. I Swear tells the true story of a man struggling his whole life with Tourette's. It has an incredible cast, amazing performances. Will it get an Oscar? Does it deserve an Oscar? Let's talk about it. Hello, welcome back to the AJ Review Show. I'm not even going to lie, I didn't really know anything about this film coming into it. I saw the trailer for it maybe a month or two ago. I'm not going to drop my usual catchphrase. I've been waiting for this film for a long time because truly I haven't. I Swear it's 2 hours long, directed by Kirk Jones, who's also done What to Expect When You're Expecting, Everybody's Fine and Waking Ned. So the story follows John, a young lad from Scotland who suddenly starts ticking and saying things uncontrollably one day. He later finds out about Tourette's syndrome, and the film follows his life dealing with it, the effect it has on the people around him, and ultimately how much it changed his life. So yes, John, played by Robert Aramayo, gets diagnosed, gets told he has Tourette's. He has also done Behind Her Eyes, Lies Not For Me, and The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. The craziest thing about this guy's performance is that he actually doesn't have Tourette's. Now, I actually thought this was a lie and had to look into it more, listen to an interview with him. He actually doesn't have Tourette's. I could not believe this. I remember when people were shocked, obviously it wasn't alive, but I remember reading about when people were shocked that Leonardo DiCaprio in Gilbert Grape didn't have autism. This is the exact same. He deserves an Oscar for his performance. It is the best performance I've seen this year. One battle after another. Marty Supreme's coming out in a couple of weeks. Born to Run. These are all going to be incredible performances, I have no doubt. But this is the most captivating performance I've seen this year. Not only, he's not Scottish, he doesn't have Tourette's, the emotion he brings with his role, the reality of the world he sets up is like nothing I've seen easily this year or possibly even in the last decade. This is a truly incredible and emotional film. Maxine Peake, who's been in Dinner Ladies, Silk and War of Worlds, she's so wonderful in this film. She has the patience of a saint and creates such a warm environment around her characters and family. So well acted, that all this like patience and just good-heartedness. She's just the sort of person you want to be friends with, and so well written and develops excellently throughout the film. Then you have Peter Mullen, who's been in Mum, Ozark and The Vanishing. I love the dryness of the character. I've seen him in Mum. My dad put me onto Mum years ago. Fantastic actor. He's very straightforward in this, but there's a softness to his character as well. And really great bit of casting here, as all of them are. Very big fan of his character, and he gets to establish his morals and his personality very quickly in the film. Just another great cast. The cast is basically only 4 people. The 4th person is Shirley Henderson. She's kind of like the villain of the film. Villain in the sense of like she's the toughest person. She's not really a villain, but if you had to cast someone, you know what I mean. She plays John's mum, Heather, and is stretched and pushed to her absolute limits as his like primary caregiver through the early days of his diagnosis. She is quite excellent. She's very firm. She's very tough in the film. But again, there's that kind of gentle softness to her character as well. She provides an excellent depth of character throughout it, like all of them do. But her story sort of comes and goes around John. If you watch the film, you'll know what I mean. But it does come good in the end. It's just she's a hard character, but very well written. Now, I don't say this lightly. I'm going to answer all the questions very quickly. And I'm sure there'll be people that disagree with this. I'm sure there'll be people that dislike this. I don't say this lightly, but I think it is the most important film of the year and quite possibly of the last decade. This film is so honest, it's so raw, it's so emotional, it's educating, and it's so engulfing, and it just pulls you into the world. I truly believe you would be remiss if you do not see this. I really implore you all to go and watch this film today. Any way you can see it, it is so important. Just really allow yourself to be brought into this world, because it will show you things you never even realised were there. It transcends just what it's talking about. So as I said, the story follows him from a young man to his teenage years and then onwards till he's a middle-aged man. The pacing was not lost on me at all. It does a really nice job of just like, you slowly age with him and you get to see what it's like for him to be a teenager and a young man just trying to fit in, go into clubs, be in school, talk to girls and things like that, and just how difficult it is for him, which is heartbreaking to watch, by the way. I found the film so easy to watch, and I was so engrossed the whole time I didn't check my watch. For 2 hours, it flew by. It felt like an hour and 15. It ran. Well, the story is quite a typical coming-of-age tale. It is full of so many highs and lows and little victories, and my mind was just so captivated by the heart that the film has. Little victories that you or I, people that do not suffer with this, would just like something as simple as getting a job. he gets a job in this, and it's the happiest scene in the film. Other stuff happens alongside it, but it's such a happy and joyous scene that it just builds up all this time of his life is so difficult, there are so many challenges. You get this one little bit of hope that so many of us would just take for granted, and it's just beautiful. Like, I was streaming with tears. It's an amazing, amazing film. Like I've just said, I think I must have cried, I think 4 or 5 times. Honestly, it could have been more. There were moments where I was reflecting on my own life and so many things that I take for granted, and how life can be so different just depending on where you're from and, you know, the difficulties you have. And I haven't stopped thinking about the film since. I was also not expecting the film to be as informative as it is. It never dawned on me at all that I was learning during the film. It doesn't come across as preachy. It just does a fantastic job of showing you somebody else's world and putting you in somebody else's boots in a very honest and emotional way. I think something it does really well technically is that there are shots that are supposed to be upsetting or very grounding, and it just sits on them, and it makes you sit with it. It doesn't linger off, it doesn't run away from the ugliness of it. It will just sit on a shot that's uncomfortable until it really hits you, and I really loved it for that. As I said, the pacing of the film was really good, and because the pacing is actually very solidly done, you get enough time for all of the different actors to really shine through in their own right. All of them having a very personal interaction with John, showing off sides of their character, just made for such a wonderful viewing experience. Like I said, so many characters seem one way at the beginning, and then they really develop and they become a lot softer around John as the film goes on. I just think that as the writing goes and the character arcs go, this is basically flawless. I also don't think there was any point where the cast broke the magic of the screen and I realised that I was watching them act. It really does just flow the whole way through very nicely. I also think because you know the film is a true story and everything's written so well, it almost feels like a documentary at times, but it doesn't pull its punches because it wants to show you that his life is very tough, and it wants to show you in a very, very honest way. Another film I'm going to be reviewing very soon, The Smashing Machine, is another very honest film, which I'm really loving that they're doing. It's just very rare that you find a film that is as open as this. I already hinted at this, but I do oddly think it kind of transcends just the topic of Tourette's. It explores family dynamics and how kindness doesn't really cost anything, how there are so many things that the masses just don't know about, and how ignorance can sometimes be harmful. But it does. I came out reflecting on my own life and thinking about times where I felt, you know, down or like life was difficult and things like that. But it makes you inwardly reflect in a way that not many films do. I would be very surprised if anyone watches this film and wasn't very emotional. And I truly, truly think that DiCaprio is a fantastic actor. I think The Rock will probably get a nod. I think I'd be very surprised if Timothée Chalamet didn't get a nod. I truly think that there will not be another role this year that is good as Robert Aramayo. He absolutely deserves to win Best Actor for this. Unfortunately, I think the film is very likely to get snubbed because Marty Supreme, Born to Run, all these great films are, you know, always coming out this time of the year so that they're fresh in the Academy's mind. But please, if there is anyone from the Academy listening to this, please give I Swear its due. It is an amazing, amazing film. There was one scene in particular that I felt connected especially to John. There is a scene with Andrea Bissett, who plays Lucy, where they meet up for the first time and they're sitting in a car together, and for a minute or so they're just ticking because it's uncomfortable. Even though there isn't really much dialogue in about a minute or two of screen, the connection that the two of them have to each other I found just so moving but so fantastically written. John, up until this point in his life, you've never seen him interact with anyone that's like him, and I think it's supposed to be the same for Lucy's character as well. And to find that significance in one another, even though there isn't any real dialogue at the start, just being around someone who understands what that feels like, it's a powerful moment, and it's real filmmaking at its best. I would say overall that the film was just very powerful. It's not mainstream Hollywood, it's not Netflix drama, it's a real honest story that is incredibly acted, and it's a story that's hard to beat as well, with just a classic kind of uplifting feel to it while pulling you through the trenches at the same time. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen, and I will watch this bloke in anything he's in. It was incredible. I think you already know what my rating for this is going to be. It's 5 stars. This is such an easy 5-star. 5 stars should be easy to give out. There is no way you could give this film anything other than 5 stars. Acting, story, script, everything about it looks great. Shots, wonderful. 5 stars. Please, please go and watch it. It is amazing. Well, thank you so much for watching another episode of the AJ Review Show. I have loved writing this and watching this film. It was such a treat for me, and I really, really hope you go and watch it. Thank you so much for watching the episode. That has been the AJ Review Show. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed watching that episode. If you could just drop me a subscribe down below, leave a like and a comment, that'd be really helpful. You can now find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd, all at AJ Reviews 101, and click to watch this video up here that YouTube recommended. Enjoy.